Hello, this is lesson 8 of the Healing Path to Abundance, and I'm Louise Hay from Be Healing. So today I'm going to talk about saving. Now, in the last lesson about balance, I talked about how it's important to pay yourself first. And so if you are providing extra value to the universe, if you're creating extra value to the universe, then you deserve not just to have your needs met, which is going to happen automatically from the universe, but you deserve to get what you want too, because you're giving other people what they want by providing extra value. And so you might think, well, I am being paid anyway. I'm being paid, and the money that's coming in, I'm paying out in rent or mortgage, and I'm paying out for food, and I'm paying out for the things that I want to get. And that's kind of missing the point in a way. So what I've said before is your needs are met no matter what. So the basics, the house, the food, all of the basic needs, the bare minimums that you have, or not even the bare minimums in fact, and the kind of lifestyle that you want to lead will be provided by the universe in the natural abundance. If you're providing value, there should be some left over. Now, many of you will know that no matter how much you earn, how much your income increases, there's never very much left over at all. It's amazing. You maybe get a rise, or you maybe put your prices up, and then suddenly all the money's gone every month still. Your bank account's down to zero still every month, and there's nothing left over. And so what I want you to know is that when your needs increase, the universe will always increase your abundance to match that. Okay, and so everyone will have experienced this. So you move into a new house, your mortgage or your rent goes up, and then suddenly you're earning more money and it matches that. Or maybe you're on a phone plan and it needs to double it because you're using it much more, or you need a bigger internet plan or whatever, and it's double the amount, and you think, well, how am I going to afford that, because I'm not really affording what I'm already getting. But you go ahead with it anyway because you need it, and suddenly it just seems to be covered. Okay, so this is how the universe works. It'll cover everything. It'll cover all your needs. If you're thinking of something as a need, it will cover it automatically. And so where's the extra? Where's the extra going? And so it's natural for people to kind of spend up to what they're receiving in. And so as your money goes up, you might enjoy going out for meals, and so you might start getting takeouts more, you might start eating out more, you might start drinking more, maybe you might start buying clothes that you've kind of needed because there's been times where you haven't had new clothes, and so the money will tend to go. And so how can you pay yourself? Make sure that you're being paid, and the way to do that is savings. Now, savings might seem really boring, but I want to tell you how the universe sees savings and how it actually affects your energy, and so how it affects your abundance levels. So if you're spending out what comes in, it's in effect the same as, when I gave you that example in the last lesson, the same as when I wasn't being paid for all the work that I was doing. I was growing the business. Business bills were increasing. I was doing more work, but the more money was going out of the business too as more money came in, and I still wasn't being paid for it. And that's because I wasn't paying myself first. Okay, and so what I should have been doing is giving myself a certain amount of pay for myself, and then the bills and everything else coming out of the rest of it. So I should have been paid first because I have the most value in the business. It's my business. I created it. I'm the creative force behind it, and so I should be paid for not just my time, but my whole creativity and everything that I'm doing. And so it's the same for you. And so what I suggest is that you set up a savings plan so that you start paying yourself first. And I want you to do this very specifically. Whenever you get money coming into your bank account, or coming in maybe in cash into your purse, what I want you to do is take 10% of that and put it into a savings account, just a normal savings account, and put it there. Now this money isn't to be touched at all. It's there to grow and accumulate. It's your form of paying yourself. And what happens is when you do this, when you're setting that money aside as soon as it comes in, and it's only 10% of what comes in, you'll find that you won't notice. It'll be like an extra bill that's come in and the universe will rise up to match it. And suddenly you can still afford everything else that you were affording anyway, but you've got this account and it's increasing. And so what that does for your energy is, firstly, it tells the universe that you are realizing your worth and that you do deserve to have an amount of money that's accumulating for yourself. It also provides you with some security, because when you see that accumulating in your savings account, it's going to be very difficult to get stressed out and worried about money anymore and get tied into that whole lack, that worry and lack and that stress that you get, because even though your main bank account might go down to zero still every week or every month, your savings account is going up and going up and going up. And so the security behind that, because even though you know that you're not meant to touch that money, it's not for spending on anything, if you really needed to, it's there. And that just gives you enough security that you feel much better about it. So you're feeling good, and feeling good is such an important part of the manifestation process. And so that's two things. So you've got that feeling of security, and you're also showing your worthiness by putting money aside and paying yourself first. Money to keep for yourself. Money that's going to earn interest. Money that's going to keep accumulating and working for you. And so something of what you've done is being set aside just for you, that's going to grow and work for you, so that you don't have to work so hard. Or even if you still want to work so hard, so that you've got something left for your retirement, or for when you want to kind of decrease your workload. And so if you keep on doing this, what you'll find is, as that money increases in your savings account, not only will you get these two effects of feeling worthy and feeling more secure, but that whole accumulation is going to start making you feel like you're abundant. As that figure goes up and up, you're going to look at it each time you're looking at your bank account, and it's going to make you feel really good. And that feeling of being connected to wealth, of increasing money, is going to put that into your whole energy system. And it's secure. It's not like an affirmation pretending that you've got an amount in your savings account that isn't there. It's not like an affirmation saying I'm a millionaire when you're not. There's actual solid proof there that you can see, and it's accumulating and it's increasing all the time. And so that's firm. That's firm within your energy, within your belief system, because it's actually happening. And because that belief is there, and because it's making you feel good, you're going to attract more from the universe because of that. And so there's this double effect happening where, because you're treating it like a bill, of a necessity to go out of your account straight away as soon as money comes in, the universe sees it as a bill too, and sees it as a necessity, and gives you the money for it, gives you the extra money for it. And it also attracts growth of money, because that's what you're experiencing and you're seeing and you're believing, because it's happening. And so the universe matches you within that, and suddenly everything starts to grow. Now what you'll find is, after doing this for, it may be a short time, or it might take you a longer time. Some people start this and then kind of falter on it, will take some of the money out of there because they're kind of feeling a bit worried that they're not going to be able to afford the rent or the mortgage that month, and they might borrow a little bit out of it. Now as soon as you might do that, if you've done that, it's going to make you feel really horrible, because what you'd set in motion was making you feel really good, and when you've taken out of it and you see that drop in it, it doesn't feel good at all. And so that should give you renewed enthusiasm to get it back to where it was, and to accumulate even more in that. what you might find is, what I found is when I started doing this process is that I wanted to see it grow faster. This was really exciting. I'd never done something like this before, and even though I'd kind of been good around the money and not got into debt and things like that, I still wasn't accumulating anything. I still kind of was just getting by, just getting to the bare minimum each week. And when I started doing this, I started accumulating, and I just wanted it to be faster. And I hadn't noticed these amounts going out of my account. And so I thought, well, I should be able to put twice the amount in there each time. And so I increased it up to 20%. And that was probably within a month of starting it. And of course, as soon as I increased it to 20%, it started growing much faster and it started making me feel really good. And still, I wasn't noticing it. It was coming out as soon as money came in, and I wasn't noticing that I didn't have any less left over. It was just accumulating much faster and making me feel really good. And I thought, well, that's great, but I want my spending money to increase too. I don't want to be just paying out the necessities. I want extras that I can spend. So extras for maybe holidays or special meals out, or if there's a course that's on, or there's a speaker coming to town, or there's a band that I really want to see playing, so that there's some money there that's available for me to spend, but just for the extras, not for the daily things, for the extras. And so what I did was I thought I'd test the universe, and I had this savings account going, but I decided to set up another savings account, and this savings account was for extras. And so it's a savings account that I could easily get access to, and I wouldn't be penalised for getting money out of it, but it was there to accumulate like my other savings account. But when there was special things that I wanted, I would consider whether to take money out of that account. I wouldn't just take it out for anything and just use it up as I would from my spending account, from my necessities account, my normal account. But it would make me think about whether I really want that thing, whether I really want to do that, whether I really want to deplete that extras account by going on this course or seeing that band. And so what I started doing is really started pushing it with the universe. I thought, well, okay, so I'm putting 20% aside now, and I don't want to put less aside in my savings account because I'm really enjoying the way that how fast that's growing. But I want to have it like this extras account. So I set that up and decided I was going to put 25% of everything that came in my savings account, the one not to be touched at all, the one that's just rising up and giving me interest and making me feel secure, the one that's going to be there for me when I maybe want to reduce what I'm doing. It's my investments, okay? I'm going to put 25% in my extras account every time money came in, and so 50% of all my earnings are going into these two accounts now, and what's left in my normal account is 50%, and that's just for normal living kind of things, takeouts, everything like that, just for the normal kind of lifestyle things that I usually have. And so now I feel really good about that account going down to zero every week, because then I know that I'm just spending 50% of my earnings and I'm managing to live off that amount, which hasn't been difficult at all. Going from living off 80% to going to 50%, the universe just provided me more, because it's like, this Claire really thinks she's worth it, and so she's putting this aside for herself, she's paying herself, and she's saying that she wants extra things, and so let's give her the money for this because she deserves it. She knows she deserves it. And so both of these accounts are accumulating rapidly. And what's happened is, before I set up this second account, the extras account, I was starting to feel bad about my normal account just going down to zero every week, thinking, well, there's never anything for holidays, there's never anything for to be able to go and see those people that I want to see speak. There's no extras for being able to get like the business coaching that I want to get and things like that. And so this money has been piling up in there, and Radiohead were coming to play in Australia, and both me and my partner love Radiohead, and this extras account had built up to probably about $500 at this point when the tickets came out, and I thought, we both wanted to go and see them, but the tickets were so expensive, and it would mean staying in the hotel when we were there in the city too. And when I thought about it, I thought, well, this is going to wipe my extras account out, and do I really want to do that? Because if I wipe that extras account out straight away like this, it's going to make me feel really bad, and it's going to make me feel like I can't get the extras that I really want to get apart from that. And so I decided, no, as much as I'd like to see them, I like my extras account building up more than this, and I know that if I deplete it, it's going to slow down. Things are going to slow down for me, because this money that's accumulating in both accounts is attracting more money to me. And so I said no to that. And then since then, I've said yes to a few things, and so it's been accumulating, and it got to over $1,000, and then there was something that I'd wanted for quite a while, came up, and it was a really good deal, and it was just a couple of $100, and even that kind of made me feel a little bit bad to take that $200 out of that account, because it was putting it under 1,000 again. I still knew that I would regret it if I didn't, because this is something that I'd really wanted for some time, and so with this great deal, it was a good time to do that. And then this week, what's happened is a friend let me know that some amazing speakers are actually speaking this week in just a few days in the city, and this was something that I did not want to miss at all. It's going to be a huge opportunity, and I'm so excited to go and do it. And so straight away, I had no qualms at all about taking the money out to do that, and to get a hotel booked and just make sure that we're there for that event. And it felt so good to be able to do that, because in the past I wouldn't have had the money available. And if I'd have just had this savings account, I would not have wanted to take the money out of there, and I just wouldn't have been able to see these great speakers that I really wanted to see. And so it's just starting to feel really good, because even though my extras account is quite depleted now, I know that it's just going to get even more and more, and the people that I'm going to see on Friday is just going to increase everything, so increase my energy and just bring even more and more toward me. And so it's such a fantastic way of doing it. So I suggest that you do the same thing for yourself. Is, first of all, open yourself up a savings account just with your normal bank. One that you can have access to the money easily, but maybe there's a little bit of a charge if you do take some out, so that you're getting kind of a slightly higher interest rate than normal, and start putting 10% in there. Then open yourself up another savings account with your bank, one that you don't have any penalty if you take money out of it, and call this your extras account, and start putting 10% in there. Have the intention that you're going to easily be able to live off 80% of your earnings now, knowing that the universe is going to supply you with more just because you've lifted your game. You've decided that you want to pay yourself first. And I promise you that you will not notice that 20% coming down. Now, do not wait until the end of the week to put it out, because that's not going to work. You're not going to have anything left over. You need to do this as soon as the money's put in. And so if there's some kind of an automatic thing you can do, then set that up. If not, and I don't do it automatically, I do it myself, because it feels even better for me that when money comes in, I can get on my phone on the internet banking and just apportion it away. And sometimes I round it up too, and sometimes I put a little bit extra if I've got extra in there, and put it in there because it just feels so great. And sometimes if the numbers are kind of weird numbers and they're close to power numbers, like 1111 is a power number, these repeating numbers, they have a lot of energy behind them, and it feels really good when you see those numbers around you. And so if it's close to that, I'll put extra in just to get it to this power number, and I'll do things like that. Also, if any extra money comes in that I wasn't expecting, I will put all of that in the savings or in the extras account. And this is all in this wanting to increase what the value that I have, and not so much what I own in material things, but that the value that I've been giving to the world, I'm keeping some of it now, I'm paying myself for it, and I'm accumulating something. And it feels just so good to do that. And you'll be amazed at how fast it brings more abundance towards you. Suddenly, you're earning so much more, and you want to increase it too. And so, depending on your level of faith, as I said, I went pretty quickly. Within 2 months, I was up to 50%, saving 25% in my savings, 25% in my extras account. You might not want to go that fast. Just make sure you feel good about it before you do it. Don't do something that you don't feel good about. Remember, if something makes you feel bad, you're never going to get any good results from it. And so make sure that you're feeling good about something before you do it. If that can either come experientially, and so if you're just putting 10% in either one, or even 5%, if that's more comfortable to start off for you, just put 5% in either one until you learn to trust the universe and that this is actually working, and then increase them to the level of your comfort and what makes you feel good. And so you might like to go fast, or you might like to go slowly. It's completely up to you, whatever makes you feel good, because that's what the whole point is. The manifestational force behind this, attracting abundance through doing this, paying yourself first, is the feeling good of it. It's all of the ways that it makes you feel good, and that's the force that actually brings abundance toward you. And so if you set up that practice, what you can do, from many other abundance kind of teachers teach, to build that savings account up to be the equivalent of 2 months income of your regular income, and then open up another savings account that's maybe slightly higher interest, maybe slightly more risk, and start building that one up with that same amount, that same percentage, until it accumulates up to 2 months worth of your earnings. By that time, your 2 months of earnings will be more than it was before when you first started this process, and so make sure that your first savings account is being topped up to make sure it's always covering 2 months. And then when that second savings reaches 2 months, then it's time to go to a broker or some financial expert that can help you with the next step, to making another investment, setting up like a stepped investment kind of thing, where somebody can put money for you, the same percentages, into another investment until it gets to that same value of 2 months worth of income for you, and then another one, slightly higher risk, slightly higher return, and so as you accumulate up, you're getting all of these steps, and on each level you're increasing how much that money is actually earning for you. So this money is working for you now, it's actually increasing by itself, and it's earning money for you. All the while, you still have this first savings account, and so if business was to go downhill, you still feel so secure because you've got all of this. Even if one of the investments just collapses completely, you lose all your money, it's only ever 2 months worth of income that you're losing, and because you've got this big tiered system, it doesn't matter because it's only a small percentage of that. And so you build this up until you start being able to earn so much more and put money aside like this. I wouldn't suggest going over 50%, so keep yourself on living on 50%, and that's just because 50% is balance. And so if you're spending 50% of your earnings, then saving 50%, so paying yourself 50% and spending 50%, that's balance. Balance isn't earning 100% and paying 100% out. That's not balance. Balance is receiving 50% for yourself and spending 50% out. And yeah, you'll be amazed. You'll just be amazed at how much this changes, rapidly changes your experience of money. It shows the universe that you're responsible with it. So if you were to have a windfall, or if your earnings were to increase dramatically, you are practiced and are responsible enough and so secure in what you're doing because you're learning from the principles, from applying those principles, that it really works. So you wouldn't just get a big amount of money in or extra amount of money without still putting the percentages aside, because you know the power of that. And this has happened for me. I built both of these accounts up to about 1,000. In fact, the savings account was even more because I'd started that earlier. And then I had this big payment come in of nearly $3,000, and it was just fantastic to be able to apportion that to both of those accounts, 50% of it to both of those accounts, because it bumped up those numbers straight away. It gave me that feeling that I wanted of this really increasing fast, of this going much faster and the savings going much faster. I'd increased it. I'd gone to 50%, and so the universe is like, let's give her more money because she's loving this. It's making her feel really good. It's making her feel really secure. It's making her feel like she's finally paying herself properly and building up for a future and building up for buying a house and things like that. And it's all accumulating, and it's making her feel really good. So let's support her in this because she knows she deserves it. And so this is what I want for you too. This is something that you really have to force yourself to do, and you have to just do it straight away and trust it. Now, if you have debts, so many of you might have debts, and you might think, well, I would want to pay my debts off first, okay? And that's sensible thinking, okay? That's responsible with your money thinking. But what I would suggest is figuring out what percentage right now you are paying out to pay off your debts. So for the minimum payments that you're paying on your debts, just figure out what percentage of your earnings right now is going out in that way. And so if you find that that's like 5% or 10% or whatever, I suggest that you double it. And so if you're currently paying 10% out each month for your debts, then put 20%, pay 20% off. Every time money comes into your account, pay 20% off your debts. This is going to clear your debts twice as fast. It's going to show the universe that you've committed to doing it twice as fast. It's going to bring, the universe is going to give you that money. It's going to replace that money so that you're, because you're committed to paying it faster. But also still put 10% into a savings account, because that whole accumulation and seeing it grow is going to make you feel so much better. Apart from this, paying your debts and saving, another responsible way of dealing with money, especially if you're wanting large amounts to come your way because you have amazing things that you want to do with it. And so if you're thinking, I really want to open up to abundance now because I'm ready for my business to really take off. I've got so many things that I want to do, and if I had extra money, I would get this published, and I would sort that area of my business out. I'd have a new website made so that I had less work to do, so that it was all automated. You know, you might have plans like this, and a big cash influx would really help you, and you'd be able to put plans in motion that are really going to help not just you, but provide extra value for what you're doing. And so if this is the case, and you're trying to attract a large amount of money like that so that you can do it, then it's a good idea to decide what you would do with a large amount of money. So if you're trying to attract, say, $50,000 extra, which is what I'm trying to do at the moment, $50,000 extra will pay for all of the things that I want to do just for the business, not really for paying myself, but just for the business, then applying this same principle, okay, so I want $50,000 to plow into my business, to grow it, to be exactly how I want it right now. But I know that if I got $50,000 in, I would put 25% in my savings, and I'd put 25% in my extras account, and so I'd only be left with $25,000 for the business to be able to spend it. And so I need to attract 100,000 instead, so that 25,000 can go in the savings, 25,000 can go in the extras, and 50,000 can be spent on the business. Okay. So that might seem a little greedy, but it's not greedy at all. It's just showing that I believe in this. I believe that I'm worthy of paying myself and having extra spending money, and I'm paying myself in my savings. And and for the business extras to be paid for too. And so setting that plan out emotionally, you might want to talk to your partner or your family about this and say that if extra money comes in, let's get prepared for this. Let's say and agree on what exactly we're going to do. Because if that happened and you're not prepared, you might find that family members are saying, "Oh, I need a new car? Can you replace this?" And before you know it, all that money would be gone, and it wouldn't be spent on what you're wanting to attract in. That is just not going to happen for you. The universe is not going to give you the money when you're not prepared for it. So get prepared for it. Decide exactly how much you want to be a windfall come in, and decide exactly what you're going to do with that money. Get everyone's agreement that has anything to do with you, who might want some part of that money. Get everyone's agreement that this is what would happen if that certain amount of money came in. And once you're prepared for it, and the universe can see that you're actually going to use it for the purpose that you said, then that money can be attracted towards you in some kind of way. It might be that you even attract more than that towards you. And so the universe will always give money to where money is appreciated. If you're appreciating money, if you're responsible with it, if you know exactly what you're going to do with it, you're not going to squander it, you're not going to give it away to people who aren't going to add value to it in the way that you're going to add value to it because you've got a good reason for getting that money, then the universe will give it to you. A good reason for having the money depends on yourself, okay? And so what I mean by that is, a good reason for me having $100,000 come into my life now would be so that I can put aside some for myself and the savings and the extras account, and so that I could spend that money on my business to give the automated website, to streamline everything, maybe, and to get a PA so that I'm not having to do the administration work, and I can really pour myself into the stuff that I really love doing, that my spirit's really into. It will allow me to do all of those things, which allows me to give even more to people, to increase my reach to others as well. And so I have a really good reason for that, for myself as well as for what I can give out, for what I can receive as well as for what I can give out. Now, you might have a reason. You might say, I would love to have a windfall of $1 million so that I could put it into this charity, okay? And that might feel really good for you, but it might feel really good for you because you're not feeling worthy. You only feel worthy to receive something if you're going to give it straight out again. So the universe isn't going to give you that. The universe will give it you if you keep half of it for yourself. If you're going to keep half of it for yourself, for you, and then donate the rest, then the universe is much more likely to give it to you. Balance always needs to be there, you see, and so if you're not balanced, then it's very unlikely that you're going to get a windfall through. And if you do get a windfall through, then it's likely to fall through your fingers faster than you can try and grab it back, and it'll be gone. And you'll be left feeling depleted and feeling even worse from it because you didn't get done what you wanted to get done. And so make sure your intentions are good for yourself, for receiving as well as giving, and there's that balance there, and know what you're going to do with it. Get agreement with everyone around you, and make sure that you know exactly what you'll do with any amount that comes in. So you might have different plans depending on different amounts of money. If you had a windfall of $5,000, you might apportion it and spend it in a different way than if you had a windfall of $50,000. And same if you had a windfall of $1 million, you might spend it completely differently or apportion it completely differently. And so this all needs to be spoken about with you and your loved ones too, so that there's not hard feelings. If this were to happen, you don't want people to be able to turn around and say that's not fair. So it's good to get agreement first of all, and then you're going to be lining yourself up for so much more abundance, so that you can do so much more with it, as well as receive it for yourself, so that you can have what you want too. So hopefully that's given you some great ideas of saving and really getting to appreciate your finances and getting in control of them and being responsible for them, because you're not going to receive money, the abundance that you're wanting, until you really get responsible and get in control of your money like that. Another step that you might do is something that happened to me is that when I started off beehieving, because it was much bigger than anything that I was used to before, I got a bit scared of the money and the whole tax thing and GST and all of that. And so I employed an accountant to do it all for me. And I realised that I'd employed an accountant because I was scared of it. I was kind of pushing it away from me. I didn't want to look. Even if he'd done the work, I wasn't even looking through it afterwards because it just scared me. And so I realised that I needed to stop doing that, and in fact, and told him, okay, I'm taking over the accounts. I need to know what's going on in my business now, so I'm going to do it for a while myself until I feel really good about it, until I know what's going on, until I'm not scared of it anymore. And then I'll employ you again and bring you back because it's not something that I really enjoy doing. And when I did that, it was amazing because I set myself up a spreadsheet and did it in more detail than he did. Had it apportioned into different aspects of the business, so I knew when was busy in different times and different weeks of each month, and where the money was coming in and where it wasn't coming in, and that gave me so much information about how to spend my time and what's working and what's not working. So I had all of these like time drains that I hadn't realised weren't actually bringing anything in. I wasn't getting balance from it, and being in charge of my own accounts gave me that information to do that. It also showed me that the first week of every month I'm always at a loss. No matter what, I'm always operating at a loss, and that's because a lot of the business bills come in on the first week of the month and I pay them out straight away. And so instead of feeling really bad that the money's going downhill and not taking my business downhill because I'm feeling bad, saying, but what's wrong? Oh, it was going great in the last few weeks and then suddenly it's gone downhill. Now I can look at the calendar, it's the first week of each month, it's okay, no need to panic. There's just so much money going out in the first week of every month, so it's not a problem. It's not going downhill, the income's still the same, all rising, and I can still feel good about that. And so really getting control of your money. See where you're kind of hiding from money in that way, getting control of it. And so there's plenty to do before you move on to the next exercise, because I really suggest that you do this, actually set it in motion, talk to your family, put all those plans in place, get in control of your money, get responsible about it, and really start appreciating it so that it can appreciate. House value appreciates because you're appreciating it. You know, value, money appreciates, it grows when you're appreciating it. So thank you for listening, and good luck in setting all of that off. I'm sure you're going to have just amazing experiences with it because it just happens to everyone when they start doing this. It increases your abundance levels so much, and you just need to trust this process. Take it from me, trust this process and just do it, because you'll be amazed at the effects that it has and how it brings that extra abundance towards you straight away. So thank you, and bye.